job exists that does that.
Oh no, I mean just like as a hangout.
I know.
Yeah.
That wouldn't that be great?
Oh yeah. That's why you get
that.
Just these think tank sort of
I feel like
nights.
I feel like there's a reviewer out there of the arts who does that.
Just
Yeah,
like
but you don't wanna
breaks
do that.
everything
No,
down.
I don't. No.
Oh,
No.
nobody is like, oh, I want to be a reviewer.
Could you be?
It's like half a step down. It's like 2 steps down from a critic. I just want to review things.
I
I
enjoy
don't like even hate it.
I enjoy improv, but I've seen way more bad improv than I have seen like bad movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. Man, being a reviewer for improv could be real tough.
You need to
Well,
watch
it's
more
hard.
bad movies.
Because you're
for
just
one.
you're
I watch
coming
a
up
lot
with
of
it on the spot.
Oh yeah,
Right? So I mean,
No,
like, you're
it's-
just setting yourself up for failure
it's
immediately.
totally tough.
Which
Yeah.
is why it's cool, but which is also why like
repetition
That-
is sort of a good.
That's why it's
good
amazing
practice.
when it is good.
Yeah.
is because that was here and now and never again.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the highest compliment that anybody can pay you is, oh, did you write that?
yeah,
Yeah. Do you like writing or improv more? What do you like?
oh, make him choose. Yeah, good.
I like improv more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because it's just like there's a lot of like turmoil that goes into writing. I'll write something and then 6 months later I'll look back at it and be like, why would I have done that?
Yeah.
And with improv, it's just it's like it's this mystical like thing that just you do it and it's done.
Yeah.
And you're fine, and you move on and you do it again.
Unfortunately, a lot of my early improv was filmed for some reason. Uh-oh. What'd you do? Yeah, a lot of my early improv was filmed.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of my recitals and stuff. And recently, somebody reminded me that that's a thing.
That is still there.
That it's still on Vimeo. And I remember like watching it and just getting so down on myself. I was like, oh Jesus!
I don't
God.
watch recordings of me from.
I don't know
improv.
why that was a thing.
Because that's what happens. People like they start doing it, it's like, oh, I'm gonna record and I'm gonna.
Or
sing
I
all
just got a
these
new
things.
camera, so I'm just gonna put it in the corner.
Yeah, but then it's like, I'm not doing it for the sake of doing it. I'm trying to do it, like achieve a thing.
Right.
And that's what I like about improv is it's not about like achieving anything. It's just like I'm creating something for the sake of creating it.
Right. Yeah.
And
yeah.
there's something nice about that.
And it's something I don't need to take with me. Yeah. It's just
Even
something
though I
that
do,
it's just
I
right
take
there.
all of my failures in improv with me.
Yeah, but you take your successes too. Right?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Is like,
But not. I feel like the negative ways higher in my mind than.
oh, well, I think that's the
anything.
case for
Yeah.
most things. Like you just everything you fucked up shines through a
We're
lot.
hardwired. I mean, you're more prone as a organism to like remember that like touching a stove
Right.
fucking sucks
Yeah.
than eating a chocolate bar feels good.
I think it's more constructive to growth, you know?
Oh,
Like
yeah,
for me
100%, yeah.
specifically, is just constantly beating myself up about stuff because I think like complacency is when I start to get stagnant, you know? Like if I'm just happy with everything I do all the time, I just start doing shit things. And you know, like if I can constantly hate a little bit of everything that I do,
You do better.
yeah. Like I try to kill that part later on. You know, like the next thing I do is with the intent of one day just not hating that little bit of thing. You know?
Yeah.
You and I have kind of chatted about this some when you've coached some of the things that I've been in. Just about like my mentality is a little different than some other people's, and I do very much have my brain just is constantly with the should have, and every coach ever has been like, "There's no should have." Like,
Yeah.
it's like you did what you did. You did what was right at that moment. You know, there may be another option, but it wasn't necessarily should have. But I feel like it comes from the wanting to make something perfect, which is why sometimes I prefer writing because you can.
But it's more.
tweak.
It's more of a functional thing.
Mhm.
Like if you think in terms of should have, like you're just going to cripple yourself on stage.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus like, because you could have done things better, and it would have been better if you did this as opposed to that. But if you think that way, then you're like, okay, is this going to be the right option that I'm going
Right.
to do right now, or is it going to be, just a bullshit thing that I say? You can't think that way.
Right.
So it's the same thing of like thinking that I have free will is going to impact the way that I process things. Thinking that like everything that happens is just as it's supposed to happen is going to like result in just better stuff
Yeah.
than if you're like, this is this the best option that I could have made? Because that sucks.
Yeah.
On stage, you're just going to just constantly judge the things that are happening, and you're going to put yourself in this cycle of like self-doubt. You need to be free.
I think it's like always good to like turn that into like a decision for next time. Like you can just find one thing to just be like, all right, so next time make more like big choices, or make like do more character work, or just find one thing out of it to just be like, all right, the next time I go up there, I'm just gonna work on that one. That like I'm just gonna have that one aspect in mind moving forward, and then like a lot of times like that results in something, and then I mean, again, you always like I always am still like, all right, but then this one part didn't go well, so then that's the next decision I make moving forward. And just kind of it's a good sort of, I mean, for me it's good. And I don't drag myself down about it. I try to just boil it down to one thing,
I think that's the realization that I finally came to, was that I could have made a better choice, because otherwise there'd be nothing for us to discuss as improvisers of what could do better. But you make a choice, and you have to follow that, and everyone else will too, and that's kind of the thing we're doing. Yeah. And so, yes, there are better choices, but you need to just make the choices that you need to make at that time. And
it's making
improve
a choice
later
is way better than not making a choice,
right?
Because like that's just like a stasis.
Yep.
And I even go so far as to say like don't have intentions for shows. The only intention that you have for a show is have fun.
Yeah.
Make intentions for like the classroom where you're rehearsing.
Oh yeah, totally.
But when you're having a show, just have fun, because like that's the most indicative factor to like whether or not the show's going to be good, is whether or not the group's having fun.
How do you feel about people cracking up on the sides? You're fine with it?
I don't feel about it.
Yeah.
It's like it's I think that like it's nice to. I mean, if you like it, you like it.
Right.
It's the same thing like cracking up on stage. Like sometimes it just happens.
Right.
Like if you're doing something just wacky, sometimes you just like have this realization like this is fucking absurd what I'm doing. What I'm doing or what this other person's doing right now, and you just can't help it. I mean,
how do you feel about it, Patrick?
I can't stop doing it.
Okay. I thought you were just like these motherfuckers.
No.
Over here. Okay.
No, I think I brought this up before. Some people on the sides, you'll watch them kind of playing along in their with their eye movements and their reactions to it. Sometimes they'll say something to themselves because they're in it. They're watching and they're having fun. They're feeling those feelings too. But I've heard some people say like, no, you need to be still and not distracting the crowd and all, and I'm like, why?
I don't know. If I'm cracking up if I'm cracking
whatever
the people in my team up on the sides, I feel like honestly, sorry audience members, but I feel like that opinion matters a little more to me, and then it expands forward, and also it gives this idea that we are having fun on stage. Like that we all that's why we're together, is we're friends and we just crack each other up, and I feel like that. That spreads out.
But if people are just consistently like busting the sides up, laughing, but the audience is silent, maybe we have a problem.
That's a little different. That's a weird problem, and that's just a thing that's just like, this is very uncomfortable as an audience member. Like this is. Do they know we're here? Can they see us?
Wait, I think the last performance I just did with my troupe, we were all having fun the entire time, and there was 7-8 people in the crowd. Sunday night type thing, but they were having a blast too. And then about a week before, we had the same type of crowd, and none of us seemed to be having as much fun, and the crowd wasn't having fun. So it was interesting.
It's the number one factor. If you have fun, they'll have fun.
Yeah.
Even if it's like bullshit stuff that you're doing on stage, if you're having fun, they'll have fun.
I think I don't know. I think the sketch sensation in my body is sort of a new thing. So the validation that I get from every laugh happening where I planned on it to happen is it's I won't say it's better than the experience that I have really nailing an improv set with my with my troupe or just with a random group. Just because it's just different. It's not better, but I feel like it's a new it's a new drug or something. It's a new kind of high. Yeah, that's just okay, because there's so much effort that you put into it, and then just to know that you can make the audience make a sound right there, you know, like it's just like I'm sorry, it's manipulative, but that's kind of what I like about it, is the idea that I can make those guys just go blah blah, just like right when I need to, right there.
That's kind of what comedy is, right?
Right. Well, I mean, like, yeah,
setting their expectations.
That Tech Doolittle sketch. That's one of those, like, I just spiritually ejaculated all inside of myself that day.
It's funny too, because I think if you were on the sides and were observing it, there's a different high for me watching something I made versus being on stage, even if I made it.
Yeah,
because you just get to enjoy it in a different way. Yeah.
I was kind of glad that I got to be a part of my own thing.
I 100% agree.
I just had this sketch that it was the 7th draft of the sketch that I started in level 1 that I pitched for the neighborhood, and I finally got it on stage after, like, trying to and failing twice for different reasons. Not with the neighborhood, but just different sketch shows. And it finally happened, and it
landed
went
hard,
so well. Yeah, it went so fucking well. And it was just one of those things where it was just like a year's worth of just wondering sort of just exploded inside of me, and I was just like, oh,
that's great.
Everything's great.
Yeah,
and
you can't beat it.
Right, no, and that's the thing is, like, I do want to get back into improv more again, just after I really kind of, because I'm kind of batting 1,000 as far as, like, the sketches that I've really invested myself in, like, emotionally, that I've gotten on stage and just the way it's worked out. So it's like I kind of want to keep going until I suck. Until, like, just one time I just really fuck it up, something I'm really confident about, and then I'll be like, hey, let's try improv for a little bit, let's play around. And I think that, you know, like, I can just kind of bounce back and forth between those things.
I'm sure you've had things that have just, like, you put them up, and you thought they were funny in rehearsal, and for some reason, one crowd, all crowds, just, they didn't laugh at the right spot, and it's just the weirdest.
Yeah, I think doing stand-up the first time, or the first couple of times that I did it, was like that for me.
Yeah.
And, I mean, stand-up's so, like, I have a very high respect for people who do stand-up, but I just can't.
Mm-hmm.
I can't put in the hours that you need to put in to, like, do well at it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, just that first moment where, like, I did like, a lot of, like, one-liner stuff.
Okay, I was gonna ask, what was your, like, sort of...
Yeah.
What was the alley that you took as a... or the, like, road you took as a stand-up? Because I picture you kind of having, like, a thing.
Yeah, it was very intense eye contact with the audience the entire time.
Yeah.
And I remember the joke, actually. It was, shit, what was it? I'm trying to remember, like, the phrasing of it. I never... Oh, Mark Twain. No. Samuel Clemens never met his father. And he wrote a book about it. It's called Never the Twains Shall Meet.
Yeah.
Something to that effect.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't do it justice. I mean, it wasn't that great to begin with, but like nobody laughed.
Right.
And I was so about that joke at the time.
Yeah.
And my immediate reaction, and I fucking regret this, but I was like, you bunch of fucking idiots.
Read a book.
But like in character, you know, the whole thing.
Right.
Like I was this intense guy. I was like, oh, it looks like nobody reads in the audience. And
bunch of
I was just like, but like there were moments like that where I just like I caved inside, and I was like, I can't. Not that I can't do this, but like for all intents and purposes, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like whatever, you know.
My knee-jerk reaction to a joke, like bombing, as back when I did stand up for like 6 months, was to laugh at it myself. Like, I had this weird nervous laugh that would come out when there was silence at the end of the punchline, like after the punchline, and I'd just go, ha! Anyways, and it was just the worst little, like, just fucking, just, gee, let me take another crack at it, guys. And it was something I couldn't help. So, like, I would just, because I would record it to see, like, to map my delivery, just to listen to and hate again. And
Before
yeah,
you go to bed, yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, I didn't bomb all the time, but then when it did, like, especially because I was expecting a reaction and there was just nothing, my brain is just like, just make a noise,
It
so
hurts.
you can,
It just hurts.
so you can just emotionally carry on.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I actually botched it the second time I said it, too. So Mark Twain never met his father, and he wrote a book about it called Never the Clemenses Shall Meet. Which
Okay.
it's the same fucking joke, but
Right. But it's also, yeah.
Who cares? You see,